Yow, 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 yow. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Monday. Can you believe it? 7 days done gone by just that fast. We back to where we started. This is Monday, the one day that myself and this other amazing gentleman get on here and we try to kick off your week with some information and or some energy that just kind of jump starts things. Now I'm gonna say this real quick because if you're in the tri-state area here in New York, it's been gloomy all day, so it's been a kind of a The beauty of it is it's not hot. The not so beauty of it is it's just been gloomy and gray. However, still Monday. I had an absolutely phenomenal weekend. It kicked off Friday night with this gentleman here to the right of me, to the left of me. And y'all have no idea, man. And then the rest of the weekend was kind of just mellow and I just kind of cooled out. But I just want to say thank you for Friday, the band, the Sean Harvey moment, the you taking over, the everybody who got up and gave us the absolute best Friday night at the Coliseum. This is a new venture that my partner in crime is doing, coming every month at the Coliseum up in White Plains. You got to come out and have some fun. I'm telling y'all, it is something to behold. Super dope. The spot is incredible, and we just having a good time. Everybody just vibing and just having a good time. How was the rest of the weekend for you, though, Ken?
Here's the funny thing. Funny thing is, to my understanding, off air, you was stuck for a minute. You was like, I didn't do nothing the next day. And everybody that was with us, especially the close clique that went and we went to the after thing, little bar, everybody was stuck on still. You understand what I'm saying? I had a chance to obviously go see and represent for Dave Shepard's birthday, Blue and White Affair, Harlem, at the Alhambra Ballroom. That was cool. I wish I could have stayed in like the whole night, but I had the fam was at the crib in the yard cooking out for my niece. We sent another one off to college. Shout out to my niece Haley going to Bowie State. So, we do that ever since COVID. And if it falls in the summer, my sister came out, got all the fish, the roster pastas, the burgers. I mean, they did it up. And, my job is just to go down there and actually make sure the yard is right, cars out the way, tables and chairs. And then this time, believe it or not, I lit the fire.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know why they trust me with that. Don't ask me why they trust me. I did it. Nobody got hurt. I was over there. I'm old school, so I was over there, man, getting it in, doing what we got to do. But had to dip out and do, yesterday had to dip to Richmond. Shout out to the people of Richmond, Virginia, man. They came out for us last night, Amir, at the Funny Bone Comedy Club. I think that place holds about 350 or whatever. It's a Sunday night, 7:00, man. They sold that joint out. Hamburger, nice. Chris Thomas, Mike Brooks, Angus Black, Shucky Ducky. Let me tell you something. Wow. Shucky impressed the hell out of me last night because I ain't seen him in a while, and we had a whole conversation of he was going through this transition, where you try to reinvent yourself and keep up with the times and not sound too dated and da. Well, he had a perfect 10 out of 10 set last night. Same thing for Hamburger and the rest of the guys. So hats off to them. Great job, guys. Can't wait to the next date. We do that tour this weekend. Getting ready. New York Kings down in Orlando. But before we do that, we'll be in the Bronx at Salsa for Tuesday, Wednesday. And then, I got to kick off a new room, I think, Thursday. So we got the Rochester thing happening, Urban Euphoria. And then Friday and Saturday, fly out to Orlando. And the New York Kings do 2 nights there. And then I'm going to be stuck with the Comedy Festival in Martha's Vineyard. Oh, my God. I don't want to be there.
That's right. That's right.
But no, that's going to be dope. So shout out to Damon Williams, my man Steve out there that holds that down. Let me tell you how proud of, since we're going to start, this is Motivation Money. This is a perfect place to start. This is what I like. I always talk, people, I know they think I'm crazy sometimes just talking to be talking. When I talk about Black entrepreneurship and Black empowerment and growth, I did an interview for some podcast this week, and the young lady was like, "Hey, we loved you in a few movies. Are we going to see you in some more movies?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure you are, but when you see me, the difference is going to be ownership. I'm going to be owning it. You know what I mean? I'm going to be producing it, with my money, uh, you know, directing, acting, all of the above, but ownership." Now, the reason I bring that up is because I just brought up Marvin's Vineyard, right? So this comedy festival, they take over like the month of August. They call it Comedy Month or whatever. The island recognizes them and all that. It's hosted by Damon Williams, right? Now, this is the 11th year. This is what I'm talking about. I did the 10th anniversary last year. And they brought me back this year, right? So I did last year. And then they're giving me the history, everything. Because it was their first one coming back directly out of COVID, things was a little changed. You had to go through the protocol. We all been there. And the theater that they normally did it for all 9 8 years or whatever, when they shut down for COVID, they never opened back up.
Wow.
So dude had to get creative. And he was going all around the island, and he found, I think, I want to say 3 different venues. Is it 3? Like, might have been 2, maybe 2 venues. They found one club to do most of them. And then one night we had to go into a movie theater and do 2 shows, right? But I remember him driving around, and every time we come downtown or whatever, you got to pass that little theater, right? And he was like, "See, that's the theater we normally do it at." Da 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 da. And he said, "Man, they didn't open. First year I get it. The second year they still didn't open." He said, "I'm gonna check into it, man," because he said, "Shit, it was perfect for what we do. We're here every year. It might be a great investment to get the theater. I don't know who's on whatever." That was a year ago. Amir, the man now owns the theater.
Nice.
The man wasn't just talking to be talking. The man put his money where his mouth is, literally, and end up getting this theater. So now, when I'm looking at the flyer, and I said, I see it's back at the Strand Theater. So you guys, they open back up. So yeah, because I bought it. I opened it back up.
Nice.
So I think that is a great example of what we be talking about. Like, it's okay to do things on a regular basis, but it should be some sort of end game. When I went back to Rochester, I started Rochester 2 3 years into comedy. Hit it off with the comedy club owner, and ended up being there for the next 5 years, once a month, right? At the comedy club. Successful as hell. We probably never would have stopped except for it was in a hotel, and the hotel sold to another chain, and they had to honor the lease or whatever. So, but I started going back because I'm like, you know what? That's, it's like my second home. Let me go back to the Rock. I go back to the Rock. Bro, the love jumps out the woodwork. The love in the Rock is like I never left, right? Right away, the light bulb goes off. The entrepreneur's like, yo, you know what? Let's keep this going. Let's get this steady build back. It was like, I would say 40, 60, 40. It was 60% of new people who knew or heard of it, 40% of the people who actually been to it before that was coming, right? But my end game was, let's build this up, because in a few years, if it take that long, we open up a comedy club. So you use the venues, you pay your dues or whatever, but you're building the base. So when you open a comedy club, you have a foundation to start off on. That's what I mean by, progress and coming back and up and one better. A lot of us do the same thing over and over again and don't have the plan at the end. I'm just going to do this till the wheels fall off. And hey, if you're comfortable with that, can't nobody make you do anything better than that. It's up to you. What I do also recognize, everybody ain't built to do the same things.
Yes.
So while we're planning our own shit, the other guy is doing the same thing, but he's not built on that, nor does he want to. It's not his interest. It's not his dream. It's not his goal. And we got to respect that too.
It's so funny, T. It is really crazy that, in particular, that is the energy of our conversations today and our motivation, because but like I said, I didn't go back out the house, but I spent the entire weekend speaking to various factions about what they're dealing with. And most of it was business like or business oriented things. And to
Right.
your point, it's funny because I made that exact same point and analogy with saying to a few people, you cannot be so upset and or uh, uh, closed-minded to the fact that some of the people who are in your circle, for whatever reason, they're happy with where they are. They just are. There's no rhyme or reason to it. They're comfortable. They like, who they are. They like what they're doing. They like the way that the energy of what they're doing suits them. What we tend to not really pay attention to is everything is a vibration. And because everything is a vibration, depending on what level you're vibrating on, the things that vibrate on that same level will meet you. The things, I always laugh because I always hear people say, well, I'm cutting folks off. I'm gonna go through my phone book and start cutting folks off or whatever. First off, some of those people already cut off. They just don't know it. Because if you ain't called them in 2 years, they were cut off. But
Right.
really what happened was you didn't cut them off. They just stopped vibrating on the same energy that you were vibrating on. So by virtue of that, they cut themselves off. We have this thing where we feel as though we have to make statements or we have to boldly announce or show things because in theory that shows strength, that shows being a boss, that shows, some of the ideologies that they have made so popular now that we think we have to move in that same energy, as opposed to, no, you just have to be the greatest version of you that you can be. You just have to know that, to your point, whatever it is you're doing has some sort of end game, whatever that end game looks like for you. Our problem though is we start getting convoluted because usually we start peeking to the left and to the right of us and behind us, as opposed to just staying your course. And, as y'all have heard me say a million times on this platform, making the adjustments to win your championship. This is
Right.
about your championship. This isn't about anybody else's championship. And whatever that championship looks like to and for you is all that you should technically worry about. I know it's not easy to do because the way that the world is set up, it constantly inundates you with some new ideology or some new energy. And then you get caught up in it because you're like, well, that's what everybody else is doing, to the point that you made about the comedian Shucky Ducky.
Right.
You just got to be you. Look, the one thing that I'm relatively clear on, especially when it comes to this life that we share and this journey that we're on, is God, your higher power, your higher being, whatever that looks like to and for you. He brought your signature here for a reason. He brought your signature here for a reason, which means whatever it is you're supposed to be adding to the spice of life, for those who are chefs, or whatever you're supposed to be adding to the fabric of life, for those of you who sew, you make quilts and things like that. That's what you're supposed to do. Your job is not to come in here and try to be the same spice as some other spice. God didn't design you that way. He
Right.
designed you to be the most incredible version of yourself that you can be, and allow the world to then drink in or not drink it in. Because that's the other part that we really have to truly understand, is the fact that some of us are acquired tastes, and it's just not for everybody. Just like the libations that some of you may partake in, just like for some of you who smoke, some of the smoke that y'all might partake in, everybody can't smoke all the same stuff. Everybody can't drink all the same stuff. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It just means that we're finding what our comfort level is. We're finding the things that make our palate happy and put us in the space and in the energy we need to be in. And I think you, like I said, you nailed it on the head. I hope and pray that everybody who is watching this, because I know there's a good portion of people who are watching this and a good portion of people who will watch this, who have started down certain pathways, and you're trying to figure out, well, what's my end? Only you know what your end game is. Nobody else has that train of thought, because they are not you. They have no idea the pressure that you're putting on yourself. They have no idea the moments when you doubt. and you kind of like, I don't know what else to do or how to move and shake when it comes to this.
Right.
And most importantly, their journey is not your journey. So while they may come in or ride past, that's all they were supposed to do. They wasn't supposed to necessarily be around for the long haul because everybody's not built for it. You hear, talent speak all the time about, him and his partner Quincy, two guys who started this journey together and through the journey have continued to tweak and do things to help make each other stronger and better so that the final and finished product that we all get the opportunity to witness and be a part of is the absolute best it can be. And that's what this journey of life is about. That's what this whole movement is, or, should be. And we gotta, kind of tie into that. You, like you said, you gotta tie yourself to that, and then let's go. Let's get it
Right.
moving. You know.
I mean, it's just basically, we always we always say the phrase "it is what it is," right? But do we ever really listen to when we say that? You know what I mean? A lot of times we say it is what it is, but we still go against the grain. So you can't have it both ways. You can't accept the totality that it is what it is, but then go against the grain. Ah, fuck that. Then it ain't what you want it to be. It ain't what it is. Don't say it is what it is. It is what it is means you have accepted and moved to the next thing. That's where the phrase was deemed at. It was like, resistance is futile type of shit. Like, why am I beating I'm gonna fucking get a fucking brain aneurysm because I'm not moving the needle. So you know what, man? And then somebody come and say to you what you just found out. It's crazy what they doing that. Hey man, it is what so do what I did. I'm leaving. That's it. So people always kill me like some of the phrases we say that I don't think we really give the time and energy to really dissect said phrase.
I agree.
I'm like that. Like I've always, I don't even know why or how this came about, but it's a thing that I can remember for the last like 20 plus years that I hear a phrase. And sometimes I'll be on a plane or a train or something, or just got a moment of clarity and downtime mentally. And I'll say some shit to myself. And it might be a phrase, a famous phrase. And then I'll just stop and go and break the phrase down in my brain. A, what it most likely is meant when they came up with it. But more importantly, that's the validity of said phrase because there's so much truth to it. Like I'll give you one. I used to always say, when they came up with the phrase "nobody's perfect," I used to, because I'm such a striver and a go-getter, I used to always look at that like a cop out. I hated to say that, So let's say I do a show and there's 100 people and 99 people had a great time. Oh my God! And bought a shirt and a hat, and we want to come back and da da da, take a picture. Just a great night. And then that one person, and I didn't really like tonight. I was offended. You talked about midgets and my uncles and midgets, whatever, right? So, and then I'll be the guy like trying to figure out, God damn, how could I make this one guy like me? 99 like me, and this one guy, that one guy would bother me, right? And then whoever's around me, and I brought it up to them more times than I can count, always said, "What do you worry about, man? Look, can't please everybody. That's one, and nobody's perfect."
No, yep.
I never like nobody's perfect because to me it's a cop out. If I believe that nobody's perfect, I keep believing that, then that's going to be my out on anything I don't achieve or give up on. You know what I mean? Or do wrong.
Yeah.
So I used to always beat myself in the head like I didn't like that phrase. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey man, you can't please everybody and nobody's perfect. Now, those two things, those keep me going. Those keep me going strong because I'm out on a mission to defy gravity. I don't believe it. That don't fit me. If I work hard enough, if I do this good enough, blah, 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 I can please everybody. You know what I mean? And you believe that.
Yeah.
Until you have baby mothers.
Then
And
it becomes a little bit of it.
And then you say to yourself, you know what? You can't please everybody.
But you know what? It's so funny to, even to that point, I think, like you said, it could be seen, from both perspectives. I don't know if anything or everything to me in a, real sense, people could rationalize and make a cop out of some sort, depending on, what is said or, what is done. I think the challenge for most of us is the figuring out what it means to us as an individual, because as a collective, yes, it could, have varying responses, or varying, energy towards it. But if you're doing it on an individual basis, like you said, it becomes a bit more personal, and you have to really look within self to figure out, how do I get beyond that? How do I get past it? What do I do to further, what it is I'm
Right.
speaking of, and how it is I'm trying to get to where I'm trying to get to? Because, at the end of the day, everything could, like I said, be perceived a challenge. It just depends on what your perspective is. I saw this really cool video where they showed three different angles of the exact same situation. And from each angle, it was a different perception of what was going on, and, what was happening. And that's what life is. Sometimes we're on the outside, looking in. And for us, in our minds, it's like, oh, well, that, was horrible, or this is going crazy, and this, and that, and the third. And it may or may not be that at all. It just might be the perspective and the vantage point at which we have to look at it at that time, when that moment. But you give yourself some time sometimes to take the emotion out of it, give yourself some time to, maybe shift, slightly, and it takes on a whole different connotation. It takes on a whole different ideology because of the new vantage point in which you have. Like, Friday night, Sean Harvey with the song. Yeah, yeah. I must have played that song at least 3 times over the weekend, because I just kept on going back to that. And the beauty of it, though, was it was done in such a dope way. It wasn't overkill. It was just like right on time and perfectly, done. So I look at it and I'm saying to myself, like, that's what you hope when when you find those moments where you could craft a moment that lives within people, regardless to whatever else they may go through, see and share. And I think that was again, one of those moments that was just like, yo, you know.
Oh no, it was definitely dope, beyond all recognition. Just a heads up to my positive people, my political people who stay up on the political scene. We are 99 days exactly, I believe, away from the midterms. So
Mm.
all you people that are involved in voting and heavy on that and your community stuff, and and fucks with the midterms like that, just a quick little splash of, put it in perspective, because you're like, oh yeah, November. It'd be seeming like a lot, but it really ain't. 99 days. It's
Not a
close to
long
hell.
time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
close to hell. So just stay up on your thing. Those for the political junkies out there who rep their communities with the voting for, whether it's your senator who's up, or council people, whoever's up. Sometimes it's mayors, governors, whatever. Just get your heads up. You got 99 days. Welcome to Motivational Monday. Station identification, super producer, Prophet Pete, who's a bad dude who makes us look good on this show.
Certainly.
Salute to him. So definitely to my man right there. Hopefully my man is ready for a segment about 10 minutes, about 7, 8 minutes, 6 minutes away. We'll come back and drop some jewels, because Amir is known as the jeweler and the jewel
Yes, sir.
drop. So we'll circle back and do that. On another note, we was talking about this today. I don't know if you had a chance to check out box seats.
I didn't have a
Um,
chance today. I got caught up in something else. I didn't have a chance. But what were we talking about today?
a couple of things, but one thing I found super interesting was Deshaun Watson. They ended up settling on a 6-game suspension. Now,
Okay.
this is why am I bringing this up on Motivation Monday? Because this is to motivate people. Because what we're spawned to is a conversation with myself and Michael Sean off the air, and it's a little disturbing. And I said this way back when the Me Too movement had gained a lot of traction, and it seemed like there was a public lynching every week. It seemed like there was assassination of characters left and right every week. Um, and a lot of it came from, people coming forth with their stories, And then now you got people that want to come out the woodwork with, oh, yeah, I got a similar story, or yeah, me too, or da da da. That's how the whole
Yes.
hashtag Me Too came about. Now, this is one of those cases, and I knew it was going to come, where you do a big disservice to the movement. Now, all these people that make these kind of accusations, and I know we're starting with Me Too, but this is for everything in life. People that move a certain way and say certain things, point fingers and stuff like that, only to turn around, run away or retract or take a payout or whatever the case may be. I think it does a great disservice to the people who are really hurt and damaged by
Uh-huh.
being certain that something happened to them. For the people who are watching who may not be football fans, Deshaun Watson is one of the top 5 quarterbacks right now in the entire NFL. Uh, One of the highest paid prospects that we have out there, young black man. And he was accused of uh, doing inappropriate sexual things with the masseuses who were giving him massages, his sports massages and stuff like that. So it went from the first lady to 2 ladies to 3 ladies to 25 ladies. They just started coming out the woodwork. It was a Epstein/Cosby fest all over again. Now, nowhere in none of these, let's just be clear, nowhere in here was the word rape in there. So it's not that. But it was a lot of alleged inappropriate way he handled himself. You don't have to take your shorts off. No, I want to be naked, get the massage, whatever. Get hard on, touch it, that type of stuff. So my point is, we get up to the point this morning they announce, because it was up in the air. If you don't follow football, it was up in the air for the last couple of weeks that, oh, he's going to be suspended a whole season. Oh, no, they only talking 4 games. Oh, he might not get suspended at all. So now, us as sportcasters on the show, we have to give our spew and our POV. And my POV always, my thought process was, in the beginning, that if the guy is proved that he didn't do anything, or you can't prove that he did do anything, he didn't violate any code of conduct as far as I'm concerned. Leave him, let the chips fall where they may, leave him be. If he did something, then I can't be mad if they make him sit down for a whole year
Mm-hmm.
or whatever they came up with, because he did it. So here we go, fast forward. 20 something is, let's say it's 25 women. 23 of the 25 women all of a sudden just drop the case. We're letting it go. We're done. And we're good. Now, allegedly, let's say he had to pay him off, right? I think this does a great disservice to what the whole point of the movement is. The whole point of the movement is to shut down these, and I'm not calling him that, but I'm saying these predators out there and these people
Right.
who are violating our women. And I say our women because they ain't got to just be black women, our women, meaning women in general. I don't care what color, where you come from. Women are to be respected, held to a certain standard, and protected to a certain degree to the fullest and all that. So when these things happen, obviously guys like me and you who actually give a fuck are appalled. We're going through a mad, emotional, mental stuff, and then casting judgment and blah, 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 only to come full circle to everybody to drop out and it's nothing all of a sudden. So you're not traumatized. You're not mentally or emotionally hurt or whatever the case may be. The official statement from the league, but let me put it to you this way. Like Fig made a good point. Because the NFL is not in the business of law, what they did with this case is they brought in a former prosecutor, a female, who would be most empathetic, you would think. But she has a background in law and prosecution and stuff like that, to be the judge, to look at all the evidence, to bring it in and come up with what the end result's going to be. The official statement was there was not enough substantial evidence to suspend him indefinitely. So in other words, you might have seen in there in a text message or two that he said something that could be skewed as inappropriate, crossed the line of person getting massage to masseuse and all these little things. So be that they go through all of that and they come back like, you know what? You don't have enough evidence for us to really put the hammer down this guy. But at least case scenario, we're going to look at this as the NFL and say this was inappropriate and you violated the code of conduct. So in violating the code of conduct and it's a sexual thing and it happened under the guise of us getting you your masseuse and all that.
Contract and
We're gonna give you 6 years. I mean, 6 game suspension. It's a 17 game season, and the first six of them sit your ass down and reflect on what the hell you did. So your next massage, you keep your corduroy shorts on. You understand what I'm saying? So, but my point, my overall point, what pisses me off is I've seen this lately. And I've seen it coming. Before I even seen it in the last year or so, I've seen it coming because the way the witch, lack of a better word, I'm telling you, it seemed like they was grabbing somebody every week or every other week. Like,
yes,
this guy. You know what I mean? Like, so I said, they got to be careful because this is it. Now, this was what I was afraid of, that you have this whole hoopla that's been going on over a year and a half, dragged through the mud, defamation of character and assassinated his character and all these things to only go, it's nothing there. So this does a great, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think this does a bad thing to these women who really are going through it, bro.
I agree. I agree. You know, it's absolutely disheartening to say the least, and especially in the wake of, to Talon's point, and even though the charges against the two gentlemen who I'm about to bring up are obviously much deeper and far more harsh, and allegations against R. Kelly and Mystical, because I don't know if you've seen Mystical is
I've
back in
seen
the
that.
news, and you just wonder in some cases about certain individuals and their lack of healing and what they're going through, because that's really what we technically are up against. We're up against some people who haven't healed properly, and you and I have talked on numerous occasions, especially on this platform and on other platforms, about the whole healing process.
Right.
And it behooves so many of our men and women, because it's a two-sided thing. I think we tend to sometimes only look from one perspective, but the reality of it all is a two-sided thing, because the other side of it, for some of the for some of the women who may be experiencing some of this, there is the unfortunate ideology or energy of feeling as though maybe they didn't have a very good connection or any kind of connection to their father. So sometimes in the absence of that, you start looking for that connection from a male, be it whatever, format that male is in. But with that having been said, you're absolutely right. We have got to be mindful of of these kinds of things, because, like you said, it sets a precedent that's not a good one for then the people who actually are in these honest to God situations where they've been violated or something horrible has happened to them, because now we're a little desensitized to the situation based off of somebody else's foolishness and what they put the public at large through. So I absolutely agree with you there. This is, again, another one of those moments where, you hope that it's a learning one and a teachable one. So I hope that, on both sides of the coin, we now are finding ourselves going, okay, let's heal from this, but let's start to understand the dynamics of how these things can spiral out of control and put everybody in uneasy spaces, and make everybody sort of feel, like must be a dream of some sort,
Yeah, I mean, and I seen that this morning with your boy, Mystical. I feel the same way I feel about him as I feel about R. Kelly. I think it's the stupidest thing in the world when you escape, so for lack of a better phrase, you get away with something and go back and only for the same thing. Now, so I'm reading the whole blog on that, if you will, because I had time in the airport. That's a whole nother story. Um, and this happened at 9 a.m. in the morning, 9:12, 9:20, something like that. And by 12, 1 o'clock, he was locked up. You just did 6 years the first time. You got out, and right after you got out, here comes another case against you, right? This ain't even the one we're talking about. This is before this, the one we're talking about. But when the other case comes, here's the crazy thing. The only reason it got dropped after he done spent like waiting for this case to happen almost 2 years, going through the motions, his testimony in that last one was the girl cried rape because she was married and one of his shows somewhere, I guess, went back when them got hit off or whatever, and got busted somehow, some way. So instead of ruining her marriage and getting in trouble and saying, yeah, I cheated, I got raped. So that was her defense mechanism to save her situation, if you will. Well, that's his. When people crucify me, that was his stance. I don't know what, where, who, but that was his stance on that. So now it gets dropped. Whatever made it get dropped, it got dropped. You got lucky. You had time served because you was already in there while you was battling it. You get out. And now you get out, and here we go again. Bro, when you read the thing, there's obviously some freaky stuff going on. And this is why, shout out to all my freaks out there. But this is why, I used to have this joke, Amir, about different levels of freaktivity, right? I'm like, because everybody think they're freak until they get around a real freak. Somebody freaky.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're a freak until you get around somebody a little freakier than you to put your shit in question, right? So this is what's going on. Clearly, when you read the reports of what the little things they saying he did during this, for lack of a better word, session, you like, oh, they was in there freaking, choking, hitting chains, and da-da-da-da, all the little things that's in there. So it's a bunch of sexual charges all clumped together. But I gotta admit, I'm thrown through a loop anytime someone who's been there before. It's like, here's the thing. If I get in trouble for guns, and it's just me, maybe call me stupid or crazy. When it's all said and done, guess what you're not gonna find me with?
That's
The
all.
fucking gun. If I
Like,
do time with a gun, bruh, like I remember being a kid. I'm still traumatized by this shit. I remember being a kid. My last year in high school, I'm going to summer school. My neighbor who lives in my building, Marcus Nathan, lived in my building. We was tight. We hung out all the time. I'm coming out of summer school. Last year's school. I just got to do this American history shit over, get my credit. And who's outside in a little car talking to chicks when it let out with Marcus. So I'm like, he lives in my building. I'm like, yo, where you get this car? It's my cousin car, blah, 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 whatever, whatever. What you doing here? Picking my cousin up. He in summer school too. I'm like, okay. Why, you need a ride? So, yeah, I'll take a ride home. School's on the other side of town. Yeah, absolutely. I get in this car. Of course, I'm young, I'm green. It's a stolen car. I don't know. I don't even know how you steal a car. I don't know. I'm green, bro. I don't know nothing about that shit. When you get pulled up, he goes, "Hey, now get close to home." And he goes, let me drop my cousin right here in Yonkers. Take the ride, because we live right in the same building." I'm like, I ain't no problem. I'm not in no rush. When we came back, like when we cutting through to do that, heck of the police, they've been on us. You would have thought we had kilos from the fucking cartel, the way they wrote up on us, right? Anyway, get out. So while arresting everybody and talking shit, and I'm trying to put it all together in my head, and the cop looks at me and go, "Yeah, it's all y'all going down. Something stolen car." And I'm like, "Stolen car?" He says, "His cousin." The cop looked at me like this, like, "Really? So you don't know this car stolen?" I said, "Officer, Absolutely not. I'm coming from summer school, blah, blah, blah. I live right here, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, right. So you rode in this car. We followed you. You've been in this car half hour. And you don't know this car stolen. You just sat in the back. I said, word to mother. This is how traumatized I am. I remember little details. Remember the Hostess apple pie joints came in the joint? So I'm traumatized to remember this dumb shit. I had an apple joint, right? Sitting in the seat with me, my little bag. When they came and pulled off, so he's talking to me, he's like, yeah, right. You ain't see the towel over the steering column? I'm like, nigga, it's summer. The nigga could have put a towel there and wipe his
Dude, yeah, I don't know.
You don't see the thing broke out. I'm like, bro, I promise you, because I'm trying not to fucking go to jail with them. Fuck that. All y'all going together. So he goes, you know what? I said, yo, he said, if your boy who was driving, Marcus, if he say you didn't know, I'll let you go, right? I was like, Marcus, tell these things. Marcus looked at me, he's like, we all going together, bro. I was like, motherfucker. So,
wow.
Long story short, so when I get the cuffs on me, I'm still standing outside my door, right, of the car. So I said, can I get my bag and my apple pie? The fucking cop, the detective. I never forget. He goes, this your bag? I'm like, yeah. He goes, hey, I'll take that. This your pie? I was like, yeah. You can just put it in the bag. That nigga said, shh. I love these shit.
Yo.
Yo, I made it handcuffs to this nigga. See that Hostess apple shit in front of me. Yo, man, I'm sitting there like, fuck it. They can't say shit, But anyway, I'm still traumatized. My point is, when I get in trouble for something, I'm staying far away from that shit, bro.
Yeah.
I would not drive people's cars. I would like if it wasn't my car, and I had a girlfriend at the time. If it wasn't her car, my car, I wasn't getting behind no wheel and no car or getting in car. I was traumatized because I thought I was good that time. Next thing you know, I'm in jail. I gotta get bailed out. I gotta go to. First of all, I'm a youthful offender. You know what I mean? I'm still young. I gotta go to court.
Shit.
My mom come in. So now moms, you're an adolescent, you're a teenager. My mother don't know what the fuck to believe. I'm telling her, I'm like, Ma, I swear to God, I didn't know. She's just looking at me like,
really?
And I know why, because my brother before me was he did everything. So she's probably thinking this motherfucker going right down the street. But I didn't. Swear to God is my witness. I didn't. So long story short, end up paying a few $1,000s in restitution because he had dinged the car up somewhere, whatever. So whatever it cost to fix that man's car, got split 3 ways between me, him, and his cousin, restitution. But my point is, I've never been in car trouble again in that situation. So when I look at Mystical and I look at the R. Kellys, who are people that not just get in trouble on it, have gotten in trouble several times and have gotten away, at what point do you say to yourself, you know what, enough's enough? I don't even bring no young girls back here no more. They can't be back here. Everything above boy, everything above it. I'm not turning into I don't even know what the fuck to call him, R. Kelly, because he had niggas cheating and shitting in buckets and living in weird and can't come out the room. That's a whole some old other shit. You know what I mean? So, but my thing is, when you get in trouble for something, once again, welcome Motivation Monday. You get in trouble for something. Your motivation in life, period, as you go along, because one thing you can't do, people, is turn back the hands of time. It goes forward. So as you go forward, you're supposed to be correcting and checking and editing yourself to be better as time goes on. Not to repeat the negative shit, not to keep fucking up the same shit. That's the shit I don't understand. What they say the definition of insanity
is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So I'm with you on that. Shall we take the break to drop the jewel of the J, or should we keep it going?
Almost forgot. Yes, it's that time. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, get ready. Get your pens and pads, your recorders if you got to record it, because he's going to drop a jewel. Play that joint, Prophet Pete. The jewel.
Hey everybody. So, today it's so funny that we segued into, some of the unfortunate stuff that's going on with R. Kelly, Mystical, and the gentleman Deshaun Watson. But the fun thing about it is it actually ties into my jewel of the day, which is a little long, but please just bear with me. To work on yourself is the best thing you can do. Accept that you are not perfect, but you are enough. And then start working on everything that destroys you, your insecurities, your ego, your dark thoughts. You will see in the end that you will make peace with yourself, and that's the greatest thing in the world. So I promise you, if you take that information that I just shared with you, you apply it to yourself and to what you find yourself going through, on the other side of that, you're going to find the greatest gift, which is the best version of you that could possibly exist. And as I shared a little earlier, when you start sharing that version of you with the world, you'll see doors and things starting to open in ways and things starting to, come to fruition that you may never have thought possible. But it is possible now because you lent yourself to figuring out you. You're the greatest puzzle you'll ever have to solve. So work on that. Get back to being the greatest version of you could be. Everything else will take care of itself. Promise you.
Boom, shakalaka, and that is the jewel of the day. You got to
But
play that shit again on the outro, Prophet Pete.
yeah,
Play it again on the outro. When I say the jewel of the day, you drop it on the outro again because that's a fly effect you got, brother.
yeah. Thank
Right.
you, thank you.
I like that.
It's so funny because you like you said, you talk about staying motivated, and I am. I just happened to just before we actually got on air, and this shows you the difference in sometimes our law as as it lays for the land. I don't know if you saw this, and I'm sure T you probably did because you keep on top of the political stuff way more than I do. But it's my understanding now that there is a circuit court judge or something who is saying, because initially they were trying to hand out, to my understanding, 15-year sentences for everything that happened in the January 6th situation. But
Right.
this circuit court judge threw that out and was like, nah, that's way too harsh a penalty and all this stuff. And my understanding is now they're trying to make it like 5 years and things of that magnitude for anybody who may be convicted of the unrest, excuse me, as they're calling it, that happened back on January 6th. Now, T and I usually do our political melee or our spiel on things usually on Friday on our race debaters. I just bring that into question because in terms of a motivation thing, to T's point, which he made not too long ago, 99 days to certain voting and certain paying attention to certain moments that help the government move along in ways that should be and could be beneficial to you.
Right.
You don't have to inundate yourself. Me personally, I don't inundate myself with all of the news. I take bullet points here and there. I kind of delve into certain things to understand where and what the energy is around it. And then from there, I try to build myself to deal with whatever the situation is. Because the one thing that I think we can all possibly agree on is the fact that if you drink in too much of this stuff, you become uh, worried, you become stagnant, you become overly have anxiety, and all these nefarious things, which are not positive ways, and those things don't have a positive effect on you physically, not only mentally, but those things don't have a positive effect on you physically. And if any of y'all know, anything about uh, thinking and or digesting or ingesting, whether it's things that you're going to see in the news, stuff that you're going to hear, it has a physical effect on you if you allow it to, based off of how you react to the information. So I always just caution everybody, please be very, very cautious of the things that you're ingesting, from everything from your music to whatever's going on in the news, to even the stuff that you know take in from your friends, because our friends and associates, good, bad, and different, there are things hidden or on the backside of some of the information that they share with you. So you got to be careful about that. I I was watching a interview with our boy. He was on Talib Kweli's podcast. I don't know if you had a chance to see it yet, but Lord Finesse was on it recently,
Oh no.
and really, really great interview. And he said something that you know you and I talk about as well. You got to protect your peace. You got to protect your peace at any and all costs. Please, everybody, do what you can to protect your peace. And if that means sometimes you got to be a little bit selfish, meaning, you know, hey, I can't take that in right now. I'm not equipped to deal with that emotion or to deal with the energy that's going to come with what you're speaking about or what you're going through. You have to be able to convey that to friends and family and associates, and sometimes go, hey man, just give me a minute. I need to, you
Mhm.
know, kind of clear my plate. I need to kind of get my mojo back. I need to get my energy up to where I need it to be. So this way I can then come back and
Yeah.
give you the best version of me that I can to help you through whatever it is you're trying to go through or whatever it is you may be going through. And I think that that's paramount. So I encourage everybody, protect your peace and your energy at all costs. I don't care if
But
it's from
I mean, here's
kids.
the reality. I mean, the reality is, like you just said, protecting your peace, all things in moderation. Um, in all things. When we say all things, we mean all things. People always want to apply it to one thing, but no, all things. Like even the things that seem good, easy on it. You know what I mean? Because too much of that, and, I guarantee you, what you don't want to happen is, like you said, stagnation, contemplation, and caught in a certain space. And and going in the other direction is some things even make you too much of them, you become desensitized. So sort of like what I just talked about with the sexual assaults, the hashtag Me Too. After you done hung but so many motherfuckers, people, it's just another thing now. Oh yeah, he sexually assaulted her. I don't ever want to feel like that. I don't ever want to feel like, oh, yeah, he sexually, okay. I don't want to feel that. I want to be like, what? Every time, like, yo, what the fuck? I want to be like that every time. So goes to my point of saying, when you get the people who are just in it for like a quick payday or to defame somebody's character or assassinate their character and all that, it does a great disservice to the person who's really going through it, who have really been in the mix of the same thing, and they're having problems in every relationship. They something physically happened. They can't even reproduce and have their own family now at this point. There's so much stuff that could be going wrong in those situations that I think the fakes and the fuddy duddies. You know what I mean? So your point, to back up a little bit, with the circuit judge who shot down, oh, we're not going to do 15. That's way too much. Whatever the case may be. I guarantee, if you dig in the background, this is somebody of probably the right wing side of things. And that we go back to how many judges were put in place in the Trump era. We don't pay attention to these things. How many judges are in there? So those judges are going to be a lot sympathetic because this is their crew. The best thing that can happen is my crew, who fucking, let's say, broke in the Capitol, not in court, but the chick who's judging you is down with your crew.
Yeah.
So what that song? Dun, 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 dun. Fuck these other niggas who are down for my. I'm mad that my dog started dancing and wagging his tail a little bit. But you understand where I'm going with this. So
Yeah.
the rioter from January 6th, the one who carried the gun to the Capitol and threatened Nancy Pelosi, is getting more than 7 years. That's a lot compared to what they've been giving out. Uh, I'm with you, man. And again, black folks, all day we can go nitpick this thing and go, man, had this been another color, you throwing the goddamn book at me. But because this group was not of that persuasion, now all of a sudden we're back to the old good old American empathy and sympathy and what the fuck ever, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so clear and apparent of what's going on. Like, are they not traitors? I'm confused. Are they not traitors?
And you wait, so let me understand this. You were able to storm the one place that nobody should be able to storm. Like that's the part of this that I find very interesting to your point about whether they the right complexion for the whatever, but you were able to storm the one place that you're not supposed to storm. Period. You could disagree all you want. As much as we find ourselves at odds sometimes with some of the policies, some of the laws, so forth and so on, we will bring out signs, we will march, we will protest, we might even tear down our own neighborhoods, which, again, we've seen people get harsher punishments for tearing down their own neighborhood than the people who storm the place where these are the people who are supposed to keep order. These are the people who are supposed to, have the be the mouthpiece for the people again at large. And this doesn't seem unfair, strange, odd to no one. Wow. So I don't, that's what I said. A lot of stuff I don't buy into. I don't, what you call it, because inundating myself with it, weaken my immune system, have me under, extreme stress and all that. And nobody needs that, or nobody should be subscribing to that. I'll put it that way. I think our energies are better served in trying to do what is for the betterment of each and every one of us and our fellow men and women whom we move and shake with. If you can tie yourself to that, tie yourself to their successes. I'll not end it with this because I'm not sure if you guys got a chance to talk about this last week, but I know it made the rounds, which was that Kevin Hart piece from the Pivot interview. Did you see that? Where he was talking about how we don't work together
Yeah, I seen it.
to, make a better situation. And, I had to smile and laugh about it because I know yourself and myself on air and off air, we have alluded to that. There is this weird conundrum that we have as a community where, for whatever reason, we always seem to feel and think that if we support someone else and it's their turn to shine in whatever endeavor they're finding themselves in, we feel some kind of way behind it, and we might not get behind it because we don't want it to seem as though they're shining and we're not. And I think that that's a horrible mentality to have for a number of reasons. First off, how do you, and Talent can attest to this because he speaks about it all the time, but how do you expect to get your payout from the Bank of Karma if you don't support and make sure somebody else's moment happens and you clap for them, you cheer for them? How do you expect people to ever cheer for you? You don't think that those two work hand in hand?
Nah, man. I'm gonna tell you what happened was America at some point in the '80s made this leap into and a decision, Ronald Reagan and then everything, and that's why they call Reaganomics, is that they made this conscious decision that collectively we're going to be a capitalistic environment. Capitalism is going to be the forefront of America going forward, and blah blah blah. Now, what happens with that is you blindside the average Joe. The average Joe don't even know what the fuck capitalism is, what it means, what it stands for. So without a manual or blueprint, you leave people to detect their own version of what that may be. And unfortunately, from what my lifetime of experience is, people's interpretation of capitalism is always, our owning our own thing and capitalizing off of it. But I'm against you. Your thing is against my thing. Capitalism never was like, and the irony of that is, all you gotta do is look at corporate America, and you will see it's about coming together. Every 6 months is a major merger. JetBlue just bought Spirit. This bank bought this bank. This bank buys it. So at the height of it, of course they got the blueprint, so they get it. I build this thing up, I merge. I build this thing up, I sell it. I build this thing up. So Even though I'm in competition, I'm really not because you can buy my competition and we could team up and whatever. But when you come down the totem pole to the lower level and even the medium level of entertainment, people are stay in that it's me against you shit, like forever in the day. But again, you can't change the whole way of life for a nation and don't give them a blueprint of what the fuck it actually means. So I blame them for the whole misconstrued loss in translation about capitalism. But in closing, I want to close with a feel good story. Um, it put me in a good space. So yesterday, the flight situation, the airline's so fucked up. I'm out of my comfort level traveling when I get on the plane now. Everything's super early, which is not. I've been doing this shit 31 years, Amir. And if I can help it, I'm not getting no early flight. If I'm on an early flight, it's a reason. Why am I getting an early flight? Let me sleep. Checkout's 12.
Get
I'll
on
be
your
there for
flight.
the 1. Get on the 2. I come into town at 4. I still got downtime before I got to be at the show at 8. You know what I mean? And then the next day, same thing. But unfortunately, this year I haven't had that luxury. So everything's the first thing smoking. So what I do is call ahead and I told the promoter, I said, listen, bro, I said, I need the hotel information because I'm getting dumb early. Plus I need somebody, whoever booked the rooms, to make sure I could check in my room early. I don't want to get to the hotel 9, 10 o'clock a.m. and I got to sit in the fucking lobby till 3 p.m. That's ridiculous. If they got a room, give me an early turn. Yeah, no problem, T-Bone. So I get there 10 a.m. And the lady at the hotel, first of all, she was a sweetheart. I ended up giving her 2 tickets, whatever. She ended up comping my room and getting me in there earlier, whatever. So God bless her, right? But when I come off the train and I'm downtown Richmond and my Uber ride is coming, it's a Muslim lady. She got a wrap on her garb and everything. And she has a minivan. So I throw my bags in the van and we get them going. And she's very curious, like, because she's never taken a train. But she has 3 kids. I want to say they were 12, 9, and 8, something like that. And she's like asking me all these questions. I'm in the car with her for maybe not even a full 15 minutes, but she got all these questions like, how's the train, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I was like, to be honest with you, I prefer the train if I can get on it because it's more comfortable. You got more space, better seats, Wi-Fi, right? So I can get work done. They got a cafe coffee. I feel like going to shot back or getting water or ginger ale or bacon, egg, and cheese or a bag of chips. Everything I need is there. Every car got a bathroom, 2 bathrooms, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, it's the most perfect thing for me. It's not, you ever go to the bathroom in an airplane, it's all squished and inconvenient, you try to
Yeah.
squeeze in there. God forbid. If you got an erection, you're fucked. Anyway, so on the train, it's not like that. Everything's just better. The only downside of a train, if you had to pick one, is yeah, you're going to be on there. It's going to take you longer to get from point A to point B. But when you factor in your to and fro to airport and through TSA and da 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 da, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
So anyway, this lady, when she starts to talk about taking her kids, they were going. She said this October they're going to Legoland in Georgia, outside Atlanta. So she's like, yeah, my husband said I should drive. I don't want to drive. I want to relax. And da, 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 da. I was like, yeah, I would bet you should take the train. So I'm giving all this information about the train. I pull my app out. I just show her the price. She's like, oh my God, that's dumb cheaper than if I fly. And my husband said it was going to be more expensive. Long story short, she's like, oh my God, give me the numbers and everything. I'm going to do my due diligence. We take the train. That's dope. But her whole energy, Amir, when she mentioned her kids, and every time she talked about the kids and taking them over here, and da, 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 apparently, husband's kind of corporate. He's been here 30 years in the States. She's been here 17. So she takes his lead on most things. He's been here longer than me. So but I'm still learning. That's how she takes it. So when she found out about the train, all that, but every time she mentioned her kids, it just made me feel super good because you got to realize the day before, I'm at my house. We're barbecuing for my niece going to college. As soon as I see my niece, man, my eyes get watery, and I'm just proud of her and looking at how because we raise these little motherfuckers. And like when I hold my puppies in the hands, the same thing. And then you look at this grown motherfucking kid, and my daughter Chelsea's here, and it's so like I'm real watery. So when I'm in an Uber with her, that little 14 minutes, whatever it was to take me to the hotel, I'm just elated. And I want us on a whole in a collective to get to those type of places.
Yeah.
Think about that. Because a lot of time we see people when they talk about their kids or somebody else's kids, that happy, elated shit ain't there. It's a venom. It's angry. Somebody did something wrong. Somebody gonna be on punishment. Blah 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 blah. Blah all this shit. Everything but this. So it's been that long. I said, damn. I said to myself, damn. T, it's been that long before or since you heard somebody,
Say
get
something.
rolled up over their kids and this their offspring. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So think about that going forward. If you don't take nothing else away from it, man, take the jewel of the day and take that. Take flipping that negative into a positive coin and situation, people. And then I guarantee you the other things will slowly fall into place. Be like me. When you don't feel good about something or ain't got something nice to say or don't want to be around a certain person, you just excommunicate that shit. Just go another route. You don't want to be around toxic shit. You don't want to be around the thing that you know leads you down a negative path. You want to be around the things that take you the opposite direction. I love being around people who think shit I ain't thinking and few ideas and and they're not sitting there like, give me $50, I got an idea. They just sitting there talking, building off what you already talking on. And next thing you know, a light bulb, yeah, I can do that. I should do that. You know what I mean? So I want everybody to do that. All things in moderation, people. It's Motivation Monday. Amir, take them out.
Hey, Motivation Monday, everybody. Again, we want everybody to just know that today is the beginning of your week. It's also the beginning of the month. So it's an opportunity for you to do new things, challenge yourself. If you got goals and objectives, keep knocking them out. I tell people this because I don't think that this is not something that people think about. Don't think about whatever your goal is. I saw another really powerful video, and it was Deion Sanders. And he said something that stuck with me. He said, we got a lot of people in this world who practice. He said, but what are you practicing for? Because you have some people who practice just to say to themselves, that I got this much more time left to practice. He said, but if you're going to practice to be great. Now, I share that with y'all because that's what this journey of life is supposed to be about. You figuring out your greatness, sharing that greatness with the world, and allowing the rest of us to be impacted by that greatness. It's Monday, new month, new goals, new objectives. Just put your head down, focus on what it is you're trying to do, or just go through doing what you're doing. And then when you look up, you'll see how far you come. You'll be surprised at how dope you are and how much it really didn't hurt because you didn't take the time to focus on the actual process. You just did it. I love you guys. It's always great. It's Monday. Like I said, let's go get them. Let's kill them.